Well, friends, Christmas is fast approaching. It is right around the corner, I feel like. And if you're like me, I'm sure there are a couple last minute presents that you need to order. And sometimes, you have the people who are a little bit last minute themselves and they want ideas of what to get your kids. And you don't necessarily want them to just buy more toys. So today I wanted to talk to you guys about some of my favorite games to play with my kiddos or that they like playing by themselves that make great Christmas gifts. Hello and welcome to Mile High Homeschool. My name is Megan. If you're new here, I'm a second generation homeschooler and I like to make videos offering my perspective on homeschooling and homemaking and just life in general. I really like these games because they're more on the strategy side of things and help my kids really kind of learn to think logically and think just in the way that you kind of need to be able to play board games, if that makes sense, which I feel like is a different mindset of thinking than like math or science or history or that kind of thing. So it's definitely something I want to develop with my kids. I also love board games with kids because it's a great way to spend family time and quality time that's screen free. All of the games I'm going to talk about today are more for kids that are like pre-K, like 3 and 4 year olds up to like early to mid elementary age of kiddos. So obviously if your kids are much older, they might not find these games as engaging, but my kiddos really love them. My daughter's been playing it for a long time. And now my son, who is 5, plays them with her. He's been playing them for a long time as well. If a game needs more parental involvement, I'll be sure and mention that. But let's go ahead and dive into the list. So this game is called Richard Scarry's Busy Busy Airport. Is it scary or scary? Let me know. If you know something down in the comments, let me know. Feel free to correct my pronunciation. I don't pretend I know. Scary, scary. I don't know. And I love it. My kids love playing with it. It's great. You could even technically say it's like geography if you wanted to. Basically, the gist of the game is that each character controls an airplane and they have to fly their airplane from the airport to different destinations and pick up and drop off passengers and their luggage and stuff like that. And they get tickets. And so it's fun because you can have it be as simple as like you lay all the things out on one table, or if you want to, you can like spread them around the room and have like the airport at the dining room table, and then the one location, the beach, is over at the piano, and then the forest location is where people are camping is like at the coffee table. And so you can like really spread things out and make it a more active and physical game if you want to with your kids, if they have trouble sitting still for a long time. The pieces are a little bit fiddly, trying to get them in and out of the airplanes because it's like tiny little paper cards. They're pretty small little cards, but the airplanes are these cool like chipboard airplanes. Like here's one of the little ticket pieces. So they're pretty small, but the airplanes are these fun like chipboard airplanes that they can put together, and there's another piece with the wings, and so they can like actually fly it around. So it's a really fun one. I like that. And the artwork is beautiful. Enchanted Forest is another really fun board game. It's basically like a level up on the memory game idea. The way Enchanted Forest works, each character has a fairy tale token that they need to get and take to the castle. And so they have to go through the forest and try to find that token. All of the tokens are on the bottom of the trees in the forest. And so your character or your team or whatever is going to sit and like go through the forest, and then you check the bottom of each tree. So this one has like the golden spindle that Sleeping Beauty pricked her finger on. And so you have to find the spindle, or this one might actually be for Rumpelstiltskin. I can't remember. They find the fairy tale piece, and then they have to remember where it is and go all the way to the castle and then say, hey, I'm delivering my special fairy thing. It's here. And they flip over the tree and show everybody. And if they're right, they get to keep their token card, and it's like the first of 3 that they have to collect. But if they're wrong, they have to go back to the start and re-explore the forest to try to find it. And so it's whoever can deliver all 3 tokens correctly to the castle. My kids like it. They love memory games. It's fun with that. You do have to kind of help them if they're struggling with counting or that kind of thing, because it's like roll the dice, count how many spaces you can go, that kind of stuff. So you might have to help them with that. Also helping them with you have to like restart and go back to the beginning. You don't just get to like keep flipping over trees till you find it. But it's still a pretty fun game. Like it doesn't have to be as hands-on as some might think. This game, Animal Upon Animal, is a super fun one. It's a balancing and dexterity game. Basically, there are a bunch of little wooden animals that all of the players are trying to balance atop one single alligator. And so each character or each player gets the same number of animals and the same kind of animals. And then they take turns rolling a dice to stack them on top of the alligator together. And whoever is able to get all their animals on the alligator without making everything fall off wins. If the pieces fall off, I believe whoever knocked them off or caused them to fall then has to take all of those animals into their zoo. It's fun. It's not super complicated. Very easy for them to set up and do on their own. Honestly, I would say they could probably start playing it at like 3 years old if they wanted to. Maybe like an older 3-year-old or more mature 3-year-old could. My First Orchard is another one of our favorites. 𝐅𝐓𝐂 makes a lot of really great games, especially for kids. So you'll saw that Animal Upon Animal was a 𝐅𝐓𝐂 game. This is a 𝐅𝐓𝐂 game. We are big fans of these 𝐅𝐓𝐂 games. We had another one called Barnyard Bunch that was also a fun one, but we ended up losing some of the pieces for it, so we don't have it anymore. But My First Orchard is really fun. It's another very simple one. It's easy for kids to do by themselves. They are trying to harvest everything out of the orchard before the crow comes and eats it. And so they roll a dice. It tells them what they can harvest, or it tells them if the crow moves forward. And like, it's also a good one because it's a cooperative game. So if you have kids that really struggle with competitiveness or being a sore loser, or maybe they're just a braggy winner, and you don't want to deal with that, My First Orchard is a great one because you actually work as a team to harvest them. It's a good team game, which they like. They're, giant pieces, so it's super easy for them to move and keep track of. Like, here's the little crow. It's super simple. The dice just like tells you what you're using, and then the basket is like, hey, you get your choice of pick whatever you want kind of thing. That's another one I would definitely say like 3-year-old and up could easily play that game. This one, technically according to the box, it says 2 years old and up, which it probably could. Like, if I sat down with our youngest and like had him play with us, I think he could do it. Like, a 2-year-old could do it with parental involvement, but 3-year-old and up easily could do it solo. My First Carcassonne is another one of my favorite games for the kids to play. I like playing it with them. They like playing it on their own as well. It's very similar to the regular versions of the Carcassonne games, in that you have tiles that you're flipping over and building the map out, and that you have little meeples that you actually are putting on the board to score with and that kind of thing. However, it's a little more basic in that you only score in one way, whereas with the adult versions of the Carcassonne games, I don't know if it sounds weird saying adult versions, they're not like dirty games or something, the grown-up versions of the Carcassonne games, you can score in multiple ways, whereas this, it's literally like, hey, whoever gets all their characters out or has the most characters on the board wins at the end of the game. So it's super easy, very basic color matching, putting them together. They might need help at the end, like scoring. My kids played the other day and they're like, we just tied, we only got 2 characters out each. And I was like, well, did you use all the tiles? And they're like, yeah, we used them all up. The whole map's built. Come and see. And I was like, oh, well, you guys weren't counting the roads as you went. So then we went through and like checked the map to find their characters and stuff. And I was like, oh, actually, you have all but 2 out and you have all but 3 out. So technically you win, sweetie. So it was one of those, like, they just needed a little help with the scoring part. And that part of that was because they hadn't played in a really long time. But they liked that one a lot. And like I said, it was one they could play independently, and then I just came and helped them score it. So a game like that, I don't mind them playing either, because if it keeps them busy for 15 minutes and then I can just come in at the end and be like, oh, yep, double check, good job. Like, that's a great game in my opinion. Now, these last 2 games are much more for elementary aged kids, I would say, than pre-K. My 5-year-old does play both of them. However, like, they don't really play the most advanced version of the game, if that makes sense. So one of them is called 𝐅𝐓𝐂. I really like this game. It's fun for adults too. Like, my husband and I will sit down and play too. Basically, you're trying to use all the tiles to score the most points. You can score them with shapes and colors and that kind of thing. So I like it for the kids to do like shapes and color matching. When they do it, we do the game of whoever uses up their tiles first wins. And if you can't play any tiles, then you have to draw. Usually there's not a person who uses up their tiles first, because that's not technically how the game works. You're supposed to score each time you place a tile down, but that's a lot of math for them to do, so I don't worry about that. It would definitely be like, if you had older elementary kids playing it that could do the math by themselves, they wouldn't need parental involvement. Younger to middle elementary age kids doing it, you could do the math for them, kind of thing, as you're like playing with them. This last game, No Stress Chess, is one of my most favorites for the kiddos to play. They really like it. And yes, it does really let them play chess as a 5-year-old and a 7-year-old. And they even played it before as a 4-year-old and a 6-year-old. The way that it works is that there are cards in the game that there's like different levels of advancement for the chess as they're playing and stuff like that, different levels of strategy. And so they play the most basic one of there is a deck of cards and you draw the one off the top and it tells you how to move your characters.
My turn. Right. Where can I move?
I drew a pawn. I can pick one of my pawns and move it in one of these ways that it says on the card. Or like, oh, I drew a knight. Okay, I have to move one of my knights this way. And like you just do what the card tells you to do and take turns drawing back and forth. The next level up, I believe each person gets a hand and you have like a hand of 5 cards and you can choose which play you want to do. And so then you play one and draw one to replace it and go back and forth that way. And then I think the last way is just like playing normal chess. There might be other ways with the cards, but those are the 2 main ones that I remember. And so my kids really like it because they can set up the chessboard, they set up all the pieces, and then they sit and draw back and forth and have fun. They really like it, really enjoy it, and it's a way that I can play chess with them too that's not annoying and frustrating for me to be like, no, you can't move the piece that way. Like, no, you can't do it that way. I really like it. It's very fun. The kids enjoy it. It's easy, and it very much is, as the title says, no stress chess. So those are my top 7 picks for board games to play with early elementary to preschool age kiddos. I hope they give you some good ideas of things and gifts that you can do for your family for Christmas this year, or if you have somebody trying to get a last minute gift for your kiddos, some easy ideas. All of these games are pretty easy to find on Amazon or other retail stores and that kind of stuff. So it's super fun, super simple. Hopefully you guys are able to get some good quality family time in and enjoy your holidays together this year. If you have any board games or anything like that that you recommend as well, or you have tried any of these out, please let me know in the comments. I would love to know what you guys like to play with your family or games, or even if they're card games or something like that. We're always looking for something new to play. We're a big gaming family and like that. Be sure to like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Thanks!